I spent 5 years working in a creative agency, and the biggest thing I learned had absolutely nothing to do with cameras. Not lenses, not editing, not color grading. The biggest thing I learned was that most businesses don't have a content problem, they have a strategy problem. And I've seen this play out with almost every business that I've worked with. The frustrating part is a lot of people don't realize the strategy is the problem. They think just having content is the answer. Sales are low, we need content. Lack of leads, we need content. Struggling to scale? Yeah, we need content. Yeah, maybe, but content by itself doesn't fix much. And that's where I think a lot of businesses are getting it wrong. They're seeing content as a Hail Mary to save them, which is not what content creation is for. I remember a few years ago, we were working with a company that after our shoot with them, they were blowing some of our phones up for the photos and videos that we had just shot, saying literally that if they didn't have this content to generate revenue, they were going out of business. Legit, one of the worst experiences I've had with a client ever. Businesses spend thousands of dollars on content and then wonder why nothing changed after the initial rollout. The videos look good, photos look good, everybody in the comments said it looked awesome, and then nothing happened. This is pretty much a Canon event for anyone who's worked in this space. You make content for your client, the socials can be on fire, views going crazy, but there's no real increase in leads or sales. Why not? We shot it on an FX6, we lit it perfectly, we licensed popular music, color grade looks great, it's beautiful. It got hundreds of thousands of views. What's the problem? The problem is nobody stopped to ask, who's this for? What problem does it solve? What action are we trying to get a viewer to take? What role does this piece of content play in the bigger picture? Those questions matter a whole lot more than what camera it was shot on, because a beautiful video with no strategy behind it is just a blind throw at a dartboard. You could hit a bullseye, but probably not. Let's talk about why clients leave, because a lot of creatives think that clients leave when somebody's cheaper. And don't get me wrong, sometimes that's true. Sometimes you'll get a client who's down for the race to the bottom pricing wise, and usually you're not upset when they leave anyway. Most of the time, that's not what happens. Clients usually leave when value disappears, when communication disappears, when consistency disappears, and ultimately when their trust in you disappears. Clients can forgive mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes creating branded content. People make mistakes. Just own up to them. 90+% of the time, you'll be forgiven. Shit happens. People get it. What clients don't forgive is feeling like they don't matter. When all their content doesn't tell a story, or it's the same recycled, easy to deliver Canva or AI garbage over and over again, they leave. You should look at each client as a plant in your garden of work. If you don't water them, if they don't get enough sunlight or care, they're gonna die. All it takes is just a little bit of effort, make sure they're taken care of, and you'll keep your clients for a lot longer. Because the businesses that keep clients the longest usually aren't the ones with the fanciest production. They're just the ones that constantly create value for their client. I'm positive there were agencies with better gear whenever I started working with the Volunteer Club back in 2022. But I made it a point to bring new quality content that showcased the brand and the athletes they represented in ways that brought in more eyeballs and sponsorship opportunities. Which leads me to my next point. Your camera is not the problem. I think creators spend way too much time thinking their gear is what's holding them back. And once upon a time, I was one of these people, and I do still get caught up in the wishlist creator mode. I'm sure we all do to a degree. I met a guy at a convention a few years ago who told me he started on the Canon 5D, but thought it wasn't good enough, so he got the R5. But he said he didn't think it was gonna be good enough either and was considering getting the R6. This is a true story. He pulled out his phone, he showed me some of his work, and when I tell you, the pictures were so dark, the videos were so clunky, and the audio was 100% from the onboard mic, I never would have guessed that this stuff was shot on the 5D or the R5. I don't remember exactly what I told him. It's been a few years. I definitely told him instead of a new camera I told him to get a Rode shotgun mic, and that'll help quite a bit. But I really wasn't in a place to like confidently lay out that what he was showing me sucked. But he was blaming his camera for everything. And these are some of the most reliable industry standard cameras you can get. So yes, like you can go and buy a new camera, but what you can't buy is experience, art style, better ideas. Like, yeah, the camera matters. It does. It's just a lot further down the list than people want to admit. I always say your gear should match your workload. For example, when I switched from Canon to Sony, it was a big step for me. I'd shot Canon since I was in high school, all the way back to my little Canon Vixia. But whenever I got the A7S III, it just made more sense for my work. I needed a hybrid setup that would prioritize video in uncontrolled environments, but could still shoot reliable photos. Since the camera I shot on before was a C200 that literally can't take photos, that's a problem. So the upgrade was there, it was planned for, and it addressed a problem that I was facing professionally. It wasn't, my C200 isn't good enough anymore. I do still love my C200. People think businesses hire videographers because they need videos. Yes, that's part of it. Businesses hire people they trust. They hire people who show up, communicate, and solve problems. The content matters for sure, but you could be the most reliable, consistent communicator in the world and still get let go because the content you're creating sucks. It does happen. But I'd be willing to bet that that person kept the account longer than they even should have because the relationship mattered so much. Building relationships with your clients is one of the most overlooked parts of this business. When deadlines get tight, projects change, budgets shift, something goes wrong on a shoot, people don't just evaluate the final video. They evaluate the entire experience of working with you. Were you prepared? Were you responsive? And most importantly, did I enjoy working with them? I've heard of several creatives losing clients because they were difficult to work with, and I've seen people keep clients for years because they were dependable, easy to communicate with, and consistently delivered. Most business owners probably don't wake up excited to hire a videographer. At first rip, they actually may not even like you because you're going to cost them money, but they're trying to solve a problem and they want confidence that you're the person who can help solve it. The best way to do that is be reliable, prepared, deliver quality content, and be likable. So what actually makes content work? Content that works usually does one of three things really well. It builds trust, it creates awareness, or it drives action. Every successful piece of content I've been around can usually be traced back to one of those three things. If it can do multiple, it's golden. So the question you need to ask whenever you're starting off creating content, is it building trust, creating awareness, or driving action? If it isn't doing one of those things, you better have a damn good reason for posting it. This was really big for me whenever I worked with a beauty company years ago. A problem that they were facing was that their market was really saturated. They wanted to stand out. So when I sat down one-on-one with the owner of the company, I told her that building the trust of her audience was more important than any sale or activation they had going on. Because the goal was to get people to connect with her past, her why, and her mission. Because there was so much saturation in the beauty market on socials, we wanted to cut through the bullshit, be real with why she started the company. That was the difference between us making the same style of generic, soulless crap that everyone else was making versus the identity-focused, story-driven content that built trust and awareness to the brand and its mission. So I learned a lot about cameras, editing, lighting, etc. Like undoubtedly more than I learned in school. But the most valuable thing that I learned was this. Content is easy. Understanding why you're creating it in the first place is the hard part. People think that better content creates better businesses, but I've worked with enough businesses over the last 5 years to know it's usually the other way around. Better businesses create better content because they know who they're talking to. They know what they're trying to accomplish and they understand where content fits into their business. It's not a Hail Mary plan, it's an investment for the future. It's the top of the funnel, a reflection of who we are. It's why you should believe in us, what we're up to, and what you can do to be involved. And really, it's fun. It's fun. So before you shoot your next piece of content, don't ask, how do I make this look better? Ask, what is this supposed to accomplish? That question will do more for your business than any camera you'll ever buy. Wow, I'm so fucking stupid. I am so fucking dumb because I don't have a mic on. This is all onboard mic. This sounds like fucking dog shit, I'm sure. Here I am trying to make fucking tutorials for other people. I didn't even put the mic on and I'm trying to fucking help others. All right, let's try this again.